welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature, and it is cold in my area, but Starlight did take a walk. It might have not have been a long walk, but I did get out there and quickly get back in my car and turn that heat on. So anyway, maybe you live in an area where it's sunny, it's like 70 out, or maybe a little not so warm. So just enjoy that weather while you have it, and that's one of the reasons why Starlight wants to move out of her area, because I love to go hiking, longer than a half hour. So those of you that live in that beautiful weather, enjoy it, bring me along with you. You can always bring Starlight with you on those walks. And also, I hope you are working on yourself, being that change that you want to see in the world, and it does. It takes time, a lot of patience, and a lot of hard work. That is what I've been learning for a while now, and I am just pushing myself harder every day to, not to give up, to believe that I can be that change that I want to see in the world. So anyway, I hope you are taking good care of yourself and, eating healthy, plus, getting some exercise. Yoga is what Starlight misses so much. So, I'm not going to do that out in the wintertime in my area, So those of you that are able to do exercise outside because it's warm out, keep on doing that. Nature, it's so important to get out in nature somehow, out in the woods somewhere. Get out of the city and go find some trails somewhere. And anyway, those of you that are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, I want to say thank you to all of you out there. I do have a relative, and I have to say thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel, and all of you that have been, I do have someone out there that has been watching me for a long time. So thank you. And all of you that are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and thank you for watching my YouTube channel, plus sending Starlight a message or subscribing to my YouTube channel. So thank you. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also don't forget the notification bell. That way you do not miss any videos that I will be making. And don't forget to leave a message down below, beep, beep, beep. Plus, don't forget to, follow me on Instagram, and Starlight has to remember to make some short videos on Facebook or Instagram. So I got videos out. Sometimes I just run out of time at the library. So please be patient with me there, because I am changing things as far as my YouTube channel goes and those social medias. And anyway, besides that, you can follow me on Instagram, and that is at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So I have to say, the video that I'm making today, I did already make a video, but I really had too much going on in that video, so I decided this time I'm going to just stay on one topic instead of trying to cover everything all in one. I really just want one video on this topic instead of having part one and part two. So here I go again to remake the video that I made yesterday to perfect it a little bit better, just to stay focused on one topic. So anyway, my video that I made yesterday, which like I said is I'm redoing it, it's because this video is so important, is who is teaching your children how to be a good mom and dad. And the reason why I'm remaking both the husband and wife and the mother and father. I'm really going to just focus on who's teaching your children how to be a great mom or how to be a great dad. Now, I didn't say a perfect mom, and I didn't say a perfect because it doesn't exist. So here I go with the video all over again, and here we go. Who is teaching your children how to be a good mom or a good father? Is it the government? Is it the church? Or is it the school system? Or are you teaching your children how to be a great dad and how to be a great mom? So this is very important because I do have a huge heart for the children, and you know, things actually start even before we have kids. It starts, you know, when we get involved with that person out there, and you know, like before you have a relationship. So really we got to kind of back things up as far as who we are and what kind of person we select or pick as far as having a relationship with. And Starlight learned the hard way, like most people do. You know, especially if you did not have that right kind of example growing up, you know, like as far as, you know, like who to pick for relationships. And, you know, there's a lot of times like the way Starlight was, is I have a heart for people. And, you know, there's times we get involved in relationships where we're trying to help people, you know, help that guy or girl out, you know, and you might see things about them that you want to help them, you know, to be a better person or whatever. And a lot of times that might kind of not work out, you know, where that person doesn't respect you or doesn't love you. You know, it might have been where you might have cared about them and really meant the best in that relationship, where they just might have been using you one way or another. A lot of times it could be about sex or money or a place to live, or, you know, let's see, vehicles, you know, family background. Maybe you make a lot of money and you had a great job, or some people might use you because they see all the money you have. Some people might use you because of your looks, you know, the outward appearance, you know. So it goes on and on of different reasons why people get to people, and a lot of it is the outward appearance. People like, hey, I'm attracted to you. You know, and I've been on many, well, I haven't been on many dating apps, but I have been on a few, but one I was on a lot for years. And what I discovered is that people didn't even check my profile. You know, I had information on my profile letting the men know what I was looking for. And many, 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 many times that men would reach out, and, you know, in the beginning I goofed up. I was putting beautiful pictures of Starlight out there, my best pictures, and, you know, I got so many compliments on how beautiful I was, how beautiful my eyes was, and I really didn't get a whole lot of messages saying, wow, I like your profile and I'd like to get to know more about you. You know, it was a lot about my looks. So as I grew and learned more in my life as far as what I was searching for as a relationship, I decided to change my profile around and say, you know what, I'm just going to put not my greatest picture out. You know, I'm just going to put this picture out or that picture out. That way, you know, hopefully they read my profile and see me for more than my looks. So I just kind of put plain pictures out. You know, and then I got a lot of messages on those too, you know, where, and again, you know, even though they were not my greatest pictures, I still got lots of compliments on my looks and not so much on my profile. You see, sorry about that, my little light here, this little light of mine. You know, so, you know, it was something where I am that type of girl that, you know, when they would say certain things, and I realized they never read my profile. So it really is important that before you're even a parent is to, who are you deciding to even have a relationship with in the first place? And that's where a lot of people in the world has messed up one way or another, is they didn't get with the right guy or girl, and then the relationship didn't work out. Or they got kids, and then, then they felt like they had to stay, they got married and they felt like, we got kids, now we got to stay together for the kids. But really, if you are having a rocky relationship and you're just staying together because of the kids, you're not helping the kids. And, there's been a lot of lies with the churches throughout the whole world about that, once you get married, you have to, Starlight was in that boat a long time ago, is I thought whoever I married, is that I was going to stay with that person no matter what, like till death does us part, But really, if you're abused or you're not happy in that relationship, it is not going to help you to become your greatest version of yourself. That person is going to pull you down and tear you apart one way or another, and that could be guys or girls. So in the beginning, it's so important that you really take time out and find out, like, who are you getting involved with? Would they even be good to even have as a friendship relationship first? You don't want to just jump into, like a serious relationship. You just kind of want to see, let's check out and see if we actually can be friends. Let's see if we have anything in common. And, I learned this when I used to go to church. Just like a job application, you can actually, put a whole bunch of questions. Take a day out, and, if you're not involved with anybody now and you do want to have kids in the future, take a day, questions, kind of like you're giving them a job interview, but it would be like a relationship interview. And because I went through this when I was in church, and ask all the important questions, as far as who you want to get. And if you want to have kids, that is, especially if you really desire to have kids and be a mom or be a dad, you really got to do some homework with who are you getting involved with in the first place before you even decide. I know people that, like my grandson, he's 14 years old and he wants to be a dad when he gets older, but he's not in any rush. He's not even interested in girls right now. And I'm so happy for him that he's not running out there and trying to hurry up and jump into something. So it is really beautiful that at his age, he's interested in sports and, doing other stuff instead of, trying to hurry up and get that girl to kiss her or whatever. He's not even interested in that. So it's really good to see young kids, teenagers, where their minds and, they're not really focused on trying to get that girl or, or that boy, just to hurry up and get a first kiss, because a lot of teenagers get under that stress of being a virgin, like it's a bad thing. No, it's a great thing to be a virgin, and not to be in a rush to, break your virginity and stuff like that. And I do have to say my son really did a great job about that when he was younger, because I was bringing him up in a good way, in a healthy way. And not that I was perfect as a mom, but I was teaching him in the beginning, really all the stuff that I learned, and he listened to his mom, So anyway, that's one of the things that you got to really make sure is the person that you have as a father or as a husband or a wife or a mother, are they the right one? Are they the right kind of example? Are they going to help your children to be the greatest version that they can be? Or are they into drugs and alcohol and, listen to the music that is not really good for the kids? Or are they watching movies that is going to brainwash the kids in a wrong way? Or are they always, like staying at home and doing nothing with their life? What do they do? So those are questions that you really want to ask as far as, getting involved with somebody to be a good father or a good mother, and of course, husband or wife. But really, you really got to really ask those questions. And who is teaching your kids how to be a good, and how are you as a mom or dad? Have you even had any kids? Do you even have any examples of how to be a mom or a dad? You know, what kind of background do you have? Was your mom and dad a great example of a good mom and dad? Or did you come from a family that was abusive to you or your brothers or sisters, and now you want to have kids? I believe really this society out here really ought to have like a free course out there to teach people, you know, things about how to be a good mom if you're a mom, if you want to have kids. You know, I believe that, you know, that there should be people that get paid to teach men and women how to be a good mom and a good dad. Because not everyone gets brought up a right way with their mom and dad to even know how to be a good mom and be a good dad, or be a good example of how to be a good mom or dad. So is it really the government's job to bring up your kids and teach them how they should be as a mom or a dad? Is it the school system's job, you know, to bring up your kids and teach them how to be a good mom or dad? Is it the church responsibility to teach your kids how to be a great mom and dad? Absolutely not. And that is how we've been brainwashed to believe through our family. You know, most of us probably came, you know, either from a public school, church school, and very few have been homeschooled. So in these days, it's getting more popular for parents to homeschool their kids because they see, you know, they might have experienced going through hell in school like Starlight did. It was, I dreaded every day in school. It was a huge nightmare when I went to school. So, and, you know, when I experienced that, I'm like, I did not want my kids to go to public school when I had my kids, you know, and I have no regrets when I had my kids. They really taught me a lot by having them, and there was no accident there, that it was meant to happen for me to learn things. And I was babysitting when I was younger, and I did kids, even though I was really, really young, having my first child, which my daughter, is that I wanted, you know, I was like a mom at a very young age, starting out raising up my sister as a baby. I was still a little girl, you know, bringing up my sister, you know, watching over her. So, you know, I have a lot of love for kids, and still today, I would love to have lots of babies. But, you know, Starlight is at the age where she right now cannot have any more babies. But I do have a couple grandsons, and I really can't really spend any time with them right now. So that's why I want to make this video for you, is so you can teach your children how to be a great mom and a great dad. And, you know, like I said, I really wish they did have like a place where people can go, so when you decide, hey, you know, I want to have a child, is that they can have free courses. And the reason why I say free is a lot of times people will put a price on something, and it will help out the rich people, people that are making the money and have the extra money to get that help, and then the poor people that don't have the money don't get the help, and then problems end up happening. And the first thing you want to do with your kids is to make sure you have the right person in your life as a father or a mother. You know, not just anyone, you know, can have a baby, number one, because there's lots of women out there that can't have a baby, you know, they want to have a child, but their bodies aren't able to, and sometimes they might be able to have some kind of operation. And same with men. Some men are not able to make babies, and then there might be ways that they can actually do stuff so then they can get a girl pregnant. But for the ones that can make babies, you know, you got to make sure you're picking out the right person to be the right kind of example for the kind of father that you really desire for your kids to have in their life. Not just, you know, like I was saying earlier about not every woman can have a baby, is that also the women out there that can have a baby, just because they can make a baby, that don't mean that they're going to be a good mom. And just because the men can get a girl pregnant, it doesn't mean that they're going to be a great dad. So what are those people doing, the ones that you pick out? Are they drinking? Are they an alcoholic? Are they abusive with their words? You know, do they work? Are they not doing anything in their life? Or are they too busy? You know, do they travel all over around and don't have time to be a dad or a mom? You know, there's so many different, do they have bad habits? Do they, have any addictions? Like maybe watching TV too much. Maybe they're, and they gamble. Who are they? What do they do? Those are the things that you really got to ask yourself as far as finding the right one. And that's where it starts. There's many, many books out there, and I don't know, I don't read all those books out there as far as like how to be a great mom and all the books that they made, but it really doesn't start off with, how to be a good mom until you back it up to the root of the problem is who are you picking out as far as is that guy or girl that you're with right now, do they go out to the bars all the time? Go out, and go out to the bars and go out the dance floor and stuff like that? Are they, what kind of music do they listen to? What kind of things do they read? Are they addicted to their internet and the computer and their phones? Do they even have love in their heart for children? What kind of things what are they going to teach the children? How are they going to, educate them? And how are they going to discipline them? Are they going to beat them to discipline them, to say, hey, that is wrong, now I'm going to beat you with a belt, or beat you with a rod? Because there are churches out there, and Starlight knows this, is that there are churches out there, who knows where, all around in the world, that they teach about beating your children. And Starlight has seen that right hand to hand in my life, where there's churches that are living by the old, I gotta think of how this is worded, the Old Testament of beating your children with a rod, and do you really need to beat your children to get them to obey you? Or is it better that you're an example? You should be the example to your children. That way they have the right example to follow. And that's where people goof up, is that they teach one thing or preach one thing to their kids, but they're not showing their kids by being that example to what they preach about, as far as thou shalt not lie, you can't lie, and then they're being dishonest. That goes on in a lot of families where the parents are not even being honest to their kids. They're lying to their kids. And you're probably wondering, what kind of lies do they lie about, Starlight? Well, they can lie about the Santa Claus and the holidays, Christmas time. Maybe, they send their kids to school and they're being taught lies at the school system, where they're really putting the responsibility on the school system and not educating themselves, and where they are lacking the education that they need of how to be a human being, how, and if you don't go to church, a lot of people that don't go to church is going to miss out on a lot of information out there, and not all churches will teach you how to bring up your kids in a good way. Plus, there are a lot of churches out there that take your free will away. So you really gotta, once you sign your kids over to the school system, your kids are pretty much the government property. So I didn't know that when I was younger, and then I found out through church, as they told me, is that, yeah, the government owns your kids right now because you have them in the public school. And, if something really horrible was going to happen in the world, like a horrible thing where they felt like, your kids had to stay at the school and they couldn't get out. Like before, they actually had COVID, where, they actually sent the kids out of the school. Well, what if they kept your kids in the school and they didn't return your kids back to you. So it is really, you might think that would never happen, but, if they were to create something, they could make that happen. They can make anything happen. So you do really want to protect your kids as far as where they are going for school. Are they safe, even at the churches? Just because people send their kids at the churches, it doesn't mean that it's a safe place. Take it from someone that went to church for years, where there's churches out in Texas. This is really out there. You ought to check it out. There was a couple guys that claimed that they were Christians, and out in Texas, the news, these two men went to prison because they had the people in the church to fill out papers of getting permission to beat their kids with rods, and the church had a school, and the parents gave them permission to beat their kids. But what they did is they really beat their kids, where it left marks on their body, and the parents actually reported that in, and they did an investigation on the kids, and these two men got sent to prison. And it was a lot of years that these men in a lot of churches were trying to fight for their rights, wondering why did they get in prison for so many years. Because they were acting like, well, they were Christians, they shouldn't be into prison, that many years. But they were, and I don't even know how many years that they were in prison. So there are churches out there that hide the fact that they beat the kids at the church. And I will make a video on that sometime, is how they do that to protect you so that you don't put yourself into those kind of churches, because the church that I went was called Old Past Baptist Church, and that used to be in Gloversville, New York, and they moved to Pennsylvania, New York, and that is what that pastor was preaching about, was beating your kids with a rod to the point that your kids' skin would tear open and where blood would actually come out of their skin. Now, you got to really think twice of the kind of person that you get involved with as far as a relationship goes, to being a good mom and a good dad. And do you have to beat your children? Absolutely not. There are people that have brought their kids up where they did not have to beat their children. So the biggest thing that you need to do is to protect your kids from people harming them, and that means in all different ways, verbally, physically, and you could do whatever you want to do, but really, if I was to have somebody in my life to be like a father figure, I would put hidden cameras around in the house to see what goes on when I'm not around. Because just because your husband or your wife or the dad or the mom acts great when you're around, you don't know what they're doing behind your back. They can make it look good, and so you think, oh, they're doing so good. Well, how are they when you're not around? So, just because everything, there's people that are great actors and actresses out there, and those kids might, could be beaten by the parents saying, if you say anything about what I did to you, I will beat you more. And that is what you got to really watch out for, is that your kids could be threatened by the one that you got involved with. So you definitely, it is so vitally important to ask your kids, like questions, and say, hey, how is dad taking care of you? Is dad doing this, or is dad doing that? Or how is mom? Does mom do this or that? It is important to really make sure and talk to your kids about what is going on, because there's a lot of times that kids get deceived and they get told different things, and they, there's sometimes kids get taught about secrets that, maybe the dad has a secret with the child, and hey, this is a secret between you and me. Don't tell mommy about this. and if they're really young, they're just going to think, oh, that's a secret, they're so innocent and they don't understand. So you really, moms and dads, you really need to make sure you communicate with your kids and ask them, and, get those cameras. And they have lots of different cameras. You can have some kind of decoration in your house, or, they have fire alarms in the house, clocks, alarm clocks that you could put that are that have cameras. You could check online, like ways to protect your children, and you got to think of the rooms that the people your family is going to be in. That way, even if somebody babysitting your kids, you want to make sure, number one, they are protected. It's very important. Even when they go to school, are they safe in school? How about in church? You leave your kids with the church people. Are they safe? A lot of times people want to just drop their kids off somewhere so they get a little break from their kids. Maybe they've had, they're tired and worn out, and they just drop their kids off here and drop their kids off there and not even think twice. You just think, well, they look like a safe person. Just because somebody looks like a safe person, it absolutely doesn't mean a thing. Believe me, just because the outward, and that's the problem, a lot of people go by the outward. If they look safe, then, well, they must be safe. Or if they don't act safe around you, you think that they're safe. But you know what? You got to really protect your kids and find out the kind of music and find out what kind of friends. Be that example, and I can't make you do anything, but really you should not just let your kids go to their friend's house. Invite the friend over to your house. Find out, invite the whole family. Yeah, Starlight said that. Invite the whole family. Have them over on the weekend when nobody's working, and they got some time, and say, hey, our kids get along great, in the neighborhood. I'd like to have you over for dinner, and, invite these people over. Not just one time. Have them over for picnics outside in the summertime. Have them over for a swimming party. Do stuff. Find out who they are. What kind of music? What kind of things do they talk about? What kind of things do they believe? It is so vitally important to know all those things to be a great mom and dad. What kind of music and what kind of movies do they watch? Because if you first you want to see what they believe and all that stuff, and learn a lot about your kids' friends and their parents. Find out, is that kid a good example for your kid? Or is that kid's, getting away with stuff because the parents that they have are not good parents and they're not watching over them? So it is so important. Also, the ways that you can protect is, how about your dad and mom, the grandparents? Are they, a lot of times people will, hey, mom and dad will always watch them, but if you've gone through stuff when you were younger with your kids and they were not good parents, that, I understand a lot of you might need a break, but you really don't want to take a chance and drop your kids off to your parents, to the grandparents, if they're abusive. And that means verbally or sexually or, physically. And what kind of stuff are they teaching your kids? Are they the right example for your kids? And a lot of people miss out on that stuff because they want to get a break. They're like, I'm so tired, I just need a break. And they will babysit for free. I don't have to pay anything. And I can go to work, and then I drop my kids off. And it is way important to make sure, so those are things that you really need to pay attention to. And, what kind of things, are you teaching your kids as far as being a parent, what kind of things are you teaching them? Are you teaching them how to cook, how to clean, how to do house tours? Or are you like, I don't want to teach them that because they complain and they get upset and they run their mouth and I ain't got time, and, it takes a lot of time to teach them how to cook. It takes, a lot of frustration. Every time I try to tell them to clean the room, they give me a hard time. So I don't want to deal with that attitude, and I don't want to deal with this, and I don't want to deal with any of that. So I just let them get away with whatever because it's easier. But really, to be serious with you, you're making more of a problem than you're actually helping out. You really can't cave into their attitudes. You really got to teach them, and that's disciplining them. Say, hey, I don't mind that you're going on to video games. I had to do this with my son when he was younger. You like video games? Well, you're not going to play with the video games until your room is clean or until, the chores are done around the house. Teach them how to mow. Teach them how to cook, guys and girls, not just the boys or the girls, to do yard work or to do the dishes or to do laundry. Teach the girls and the boys, because the school system isn't going to teach you all those things with your kids. They might teach the kids how to cook later on or whatever, and then to teach them how, and be a good example of how to be friendly out in public, talk to other people, but, teach them balance with that, because you want to teach them to, be kind to people out in public, not to be stuck up out in public. Teach them how to help their neighbors and help people out. Be that example. They need that. We need that in the world, is that, because they see you doing it, and then, to teach them how to not litter. Help them, I did that with my kids when they were younger. We went out and Starlight had a garbage bag, and, we went around and picked up the garbage that was out in the city, and I was teaching my kids not to throw litter on the ground, and I was teaching them, even though I might have taught them, one of my children still later on was throwing litter outside, and then she grew up a little bit more and realized that, that was not a good thing to do. So she doesn't do that anymore. But you really want to be a good example and teach them also, when they get old enough, to help them to learn, and don't yell and scream and, call them names, and, be kind to them and teach them, but you got to be an example. You got to, be honest. Teach them how to be honest. Teach them how to communicate. Those are very important. Teach them about spiritual thing, not just, there's a lot of people that might go to church, but they don't know anything about being spiritual, about meditations and yoga and things that are very helpful, and that would really help them out a lot. Teach them how to eat healthy, the right kind of food, and, don't go out and buy the stuff that's going to kill them later on in life and give them, like heart problems and that could actually mess up their stomach by eating a lot of junk food. But you got to be that example first in order for them to even, if you don't buy it, and and bring that food in your house, then they can't eat it. And when they get older, of course, when they have their own job and they go out and buy junk, that's a different story. But if it's you that is paying for all the food, teach them that they need balance, to eat the right kind of food, and not, it's one thing if you're going to eat junk food, but if it's a all the time thing, they're always eating junk food, it's going to catch up with them later on. So you really want to be that example as far as teaching them the right stuff to eat. In the school system, they, try to have that balanced meal at the school system, but you really got to watch out when the holidays come and what kind of food you cook for them and give to those, and also to be honest with them about the holidays. Honesty is the best policy. So it is best to start off by being honest, and finding an honest partner, whoever it is that you decide that you want to, pick out as far as a father or mother. Make sure they're being honest, to you, their family, and be that example that you want as far as to be a dad or a mom. And, that goes along with being a great husband or a wife. So I know there's so many more things I could talk, but the time is ticking here. I will have another video at another time about husband and wife stuff. But right now I just really wanted to focus with the things that you can help your children out as far as to be a good mom and be a good dad and all that stuff, and teach them how to get along with their brothers and sisters. Don't encourage them to beat each other up and call each other names. That is another good point. But like I said, I could go on and on and on as far as to teach them to, teach them, hey, you're not going to talk to your sister like that or talk to your brother like that. You're going to respect each other. You're not going to, call each other names in this house. It's absolutely uncalled for. Teach each other to encourage each other and inspire each other. And, inspire your kids, encourage your kids. Don't put them down. They go through that a lot in school with their friends, or, that they thought were friends, or even the other kids in school, or even at churches, So really be that example to your kids, and be honest with them. Try to always have a positive attitude in the house. Try to always, teach them that. They really need it. They don't really, it's not good if they hear you complaining about everything and being negative, because it's, going to teach them to be that way, or complaining about this and complaining about that and just never being happy, because that's what you're teaching your kids. So you really got to think twice of all what you do and the partner that you pick as far as being a father or a mother. So anyway, I do love you. You can give this video a thumbs up. That is if you really want to see and be that change that you want to see in the world. Also, don't forget you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget you can leave a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And don't forget to ring the notification bell. I will ring the notification bell. You can push the button. Plus, you can follow me on Instagram, and that is at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you so much, and I really hope you are being that example and teaching your children. And you got to start out right away when they're very young. It starts out when they're really young, because it is really difficult when you didn't do your job as a good mom or dad through most of their life and decide, oh no, things are getting really bad when they're teenagers. Yeah. You really got to start off right from the very beginning. That's why it's so important to learn how to be a good mom and dad before you even decide to, how to pick out that man, how to pick out that lady. What are you looking for? What is the right things to look for as far as finding that one? Don't just grab a guy because he looks good, or grab a girl because, she looks good, or grab a guy because he's got a lot of money, or grab a girl because she's got a lot of money, or a nice house. All that doesn't really matter, or education. Education is important, but, what are they going to teach your children? Do they believe in God? Do they not believe in God? All that is so important. Are they, a believer, or they don't believe? And some people think, I don't care what the guy believes in. If he's just a human being, I believe in God, but he doesn't. I'll tell you what, you're going to have issues with that later on down the road. As far as what your kids are going to get taught, and so you really got to think twice of the kind of people that you get involved with ahead of time before you even decide to have any babies. So anyway, I do love you so much. This is Starlight, love and light, peace.